It's the story everybody is talking about today when it comes to Disneyland and Walt Disney World. It turns out somebody stepped out of the boat, the log, on Tiana's Bayou Adventure just as it was going down, and down they went as well. A teenager plunging more than 50 feet on an e-ticket attraction. Today we'll tell you why they're lucky to be alive and why Disney may now be forced to make changes to the ride. Mr. Bluebird's on my shoulder, and he's on yours too, folks, and he is definitely on the shoulder of the young man who went way down on Tiana's Bayou Adventure and lives to tell the tale another day. As we dive in, the ramifications are huge for Disney, but the ramifications are huge for us every time you click that like button. And you just must subscribe. At least know we're working hard every day to earn it from you. Splash Mountain turned Tiana's Bayou Adventure takes you down a plunge, but, well, almost always it's with a boat. This time, not so much. According to thatparkplace.com by Marvin Montanero, a teenager fell down Tiana's Bayou Adventure, took a 50-foot plunge after exiting the ride vehicle. There's a picture of, people going down the ride. It says a frightening incident at Disneyland has raised new questions about guest safety after a 13-year-old boy exited a ride vehicle on Tiana's Bayou Adventure and went down the attraction's iconic 50-foot drop. We'll talk about why this is actually a problem for Disney in just a minute. You could say, the guests should know better, but hang tight. I'm going to explain why maybe that's not quite the case here. According to Fox News, the incident occurred Sunday evening on Disneyland's Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the log flume attraction that replaced Splash Mountain in 2024. Here is video captured from a cell phone. TMZ, who we despise, but we're stuck covering this with their eyes. TMZ has this one. Again, we just can't stand them. They're awful people, but here we go. There goes the boy down. Everybody see the boy in the middle there? Down head first. I mean, this is really bad.
Ouch.
Yeah, head first down the log flume. And you can see there in full speed down the flume.
I'm awful, but I want to know whether that thing that takes your picture at that point worked and took his picture.
Wouldn't that be interesting in the future lawsuit that we're sure will happen? Disneyland officials confirmed that the teen exited his ride vehicle before reaching the attraction's final descent. A Disneyland spokesperson told Fox News that a cast member immediately stopped the ride after becoming aware of the situation. The teenager was transported to a local hospital for evaluation, was later released. We'd be covering this a different way if this had resulted in the end of a life or grave damage. That does not seem to be the case. It says, while Disney has not released extensive details about exactly how the incident unfolded, witnesses who discussed the situation online painted a dramatic picture. According to Fox News, several guests reported seeing the boy slide down the attraction's steep final drop before emergency personnel were there. One Reddit user who claimed to be riding the attraction at the time said passengers witnessed the teenager fall moments before the ride came to stop. Here's the quote. He attempted to exit the ride vehicle at the top of the final drop. The ride stop mechanism failed to engage or was already past the threshold. And by the way, we've heard it was past the threshold. It was already moving downward for the vehicle to enter free fall. And so that seems to be what did happen. The teenager tried to exit. Now, here's the thing. People could say, people should know better. This is a guest error. This is a parent error, whatever. The problem is that my understanding, Culture, you correct me if I'm wrong, at Disneyland, Tiana's Bayou Adventure is single passengers in the logs, right? Like there's a single passenger row, single passenger row, single passenger, right?
Yeah, that's the way it used to be. It was like a long bench style that you straddled. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that you have somebody, and I don't know the state of this teenager, okay? But let's say you have a teenager who is on the spectrum, all right? Or any young person, any adult who's on the spectrum, and just they get to the top of the thing and they suddenly say, I'm not going to do this. I'm getting off right now. That's how this happens. And well, let me say this. I don't know this person, but that's how it could happen, hypothetically. And Culture, the other thing about this too is, I think where Disney might be in trouble is I have always thought, ever since Splash Mountain opened, and I don't know why they didn't fix this when they did Tiana's Bayou Adventure. They were really good at breaking things, not good at fixing things, apparently. But I've always thought this is a ride that needs a safety, harness, seatbelt, lap bar, something.
You better believe it'll get one now.
Yes, for this very reason, because there are multiple drops, and it was just a matter of time until somebody did something that caused them to exit the vehicle. It took this long for it to happen, but Culture, I got to say, I think Disney should be a little bit worried about this, and they need to be, like Lou said, installing lap bars or seatbelts as fast as they can. I don't know why it doesn't have a seatbelt.
You would think Cal OSHA will make them do it at this point, whether they want to or not.
You would think now Cal OSHA allowed it to be reopened, of course, but
consider this. I mean, Log Jammer and other flume style attractions never really needed restraints. Like
the one at Knott's Berry Farm doesn't.
That's what I said. Yeah.
I mean, just talking in the immediate vicinity, there are examples.
Well, Six Flags, Log Jammer, and a few of the other ones.
Let me say this, just for clarity. This is Walt Disney World's version, which has 2 passengers. Yeah. Culture, my understanding is it's still 1 passenger
it's
in California.
Single file line. Yeah. It seats like 6 to 7 people. Maybe they go with seatbelt restraints. I mean, I can't see them reworking the logs because they would have to rework everything inside.
Why not a seatbelt, Culture? Why not a seatbelt? That would have stopped this, and it would stop a kid or a teenager who's being silly from getting out.
It could also stop the ride. Could foul up the mechanism.
Is it because these are water vehicles? So they don't have seatbelts on Pirates. They don't have seatbelts on Small World. Of course, Pirates has a teeny weeny itsy bitsy drop in comparison. Is it because there's a liability if one of these logs were to sink?
Pirates at Disneyland has two drops.
Yes, and they're much bigger than the ones at Disney World.
Way big, yeah.
But they're still not. They're still not Splash Mountain size.
No. But there is a decent sized one into the caverns. Regardless, that's not the point. It's that I would be concerned if I were to put safety belts on the single file logs, that they could become loose during the course of the attraction and foul the mechanisms in the log and making it more dangerous for people to ride.
Okay, hold on. Explain, what do you mean by that?
Well, there's a number of mechanisms at play when you're riding on one of these flume rides. You have the way that they do the blocks. Like you're about to go up this area. There's actual blocks that pop into place. You can hear them popping into place behind the log, so that if this all of a sudden loses its ability to traverse upwards, it doesn't go backwards. It just
what does that have to do with the seatbelt, though?
No, well, because if
you detached it and you flipped it over the side and it jammed one of those things out there in the water.
Yeah.
Oh, so if somebody were to undo their seatbelt and toss it out.
And then the entry gate, or even if one became loose because there wasn't a passenger, and like, for example, there are control gates throughout this attraction as well. And they are used even more frequently now because Tiana requires specific, points at which, man, that is such a terrible fall.
The report we have, Culture, and I want to be careful.
Yeah.
Really careful. The report that we have is that perhaps somebody tried to pull this individual, and we kind of see that maybe. In fact, it looks very much like that. I want to be careful, but it may have been that somebody tried to pull the individual back in because they were exiting, and that's how we get into this weird situation.
Okay, all right. Regardless, it looks rough, and I feel bad for that young person.
It's amazing that they're alive. It's amazing that they were able to just be released to the hospital. Yeah. That's a horrible fall.
Yeah, you would think there would be certainly potential for concussion, if not broken bones and other problems.
Well, the only thing that saves them here is that the boat is designed to speed through that once it gets to the bottom, and the human body, I would assume, would not speed through like that. So that cleared the boat out of the way, so they didn't collide with the boat at the end.
Well, and again, that's all because of other mechanisms that are part of the logs, which are wheels and things like that allow it to traverse certain areas quickly and smoothly. Like the oopsie-doos that are in the dark portion of the attraction. But look, all I know is this: installing a restraint system is going to be a challenge. I'm not sure how they'll do it. I imagine they'll be forced to do it. But this ride would have been out of compliance a long time ago, which is why we don't see a lot of flume rides in.
How did they manage to redo it? And because you said it would be out of compliance, how did they manage?
Because they didn't change the path of the ride. They just changed the scenery around it. It got grandfathered in.
Yeah, it didn't change the structure. There's no structural changes, nothing. Other than maybe the construction of Tiana's Tower, but that would have been, the equivalent of a renovation on your property to add a garage. So that would have to be compliant. But yeah.
All I'm saying is this never happened when Splash Mountain was here. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for how many years? And it hadn't happened. Oh, God.
It was the briar patch. Nobody was going to get out seeing that a briar patch was coming up. That's a little extra scary. You don't want to go up against the thorns. Anyway, bad joke, bad time.
I just, this obviously will all be figured out, and everybody will sue everybody, and we'll find out what the result is.
That's exactly right.
But of all the things that you might have worried about in the past about going to a park, whether it's Disney's or anybody else's, You worried about maybe getting sunburned. You may be worried about eating something that made you unwell. You worried about long lines and parking and high prices. Safety suddenly is a big concern everywhere, and it didn't used to be. And I don't think that's luck. I think that's a degradation of the systems, and it's a damn shame.
Well, it's also a cultural issue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, here's what we're going to have to say, though, guys. We gave Disneyland a very hard time, and appropriately so, for that video we did recently. I don't remember if we did it on this channel or TPP, but we covered the guests being abandoned in the Haunted Mansion and told, find a way to evacuate. We're not coming to help you. And we ripped them. By the way, this is the fall, which is essentially the same. You can see how fast the boat goes through. That's what saved this kid. But we ripped Disneyland cast members. We need to say on this one, though, to the cast members who immediately stopped the ride, you did exactly what you were supposed to do.
Because if another boat had come down behind him and hit him, that would have been really, really, really bad. And that's
it's over.
Thinking that the cast members really saved the day.
Would have probably dislodged the boat that came behind, would have harmed the other guests. I mean, that would have been horrible. This is something that had not happened in 30 plus years. And yet the cast member was diligent and knew exactly what to do. Excellent training, excellent execution of stopping the attraction. Lauren, your thoughts as you watch what we've been talking about, this kid going down. It's amazing they're alive. I mean, it really is amazing that they're alive.
Yeah, when I saw the footage, I had heard about it before I saw the footage, and so I heard, there was a drop. I wasn't really considering the size of the drop. I was just thinking, minor accident. Then I saw the footage, and it's like, this is horrific. This is some of the scariest footage I think I've ever seen. This kid,
he's going head first, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this kid blew every luck token that he possibly had for life. So
he should be buying a lottery ticket the very same day. I'll tell you that.
I tell you what, I would be extremely careful for the rest of my life now, because I think you used up every last favor that your guardian angel had.
I think you're exactly right. And folks, the bottom line here is, if you have, and again, we don't know about this kid, but if you have somebody in your party who, for whatever reason, you think might, do something like this, make sure that you are riding rides with them beside them so they don't. And if there is a single rider thing where it's, one person per row, you got to think about it. You got to say, you know what? Sometimes they do things that are just very unexpected, and we're going to make sure that doesn't happen here. There you go, folks. That's the story, and we're sticking to it. We're just really glad in this case everybody came away safe and okay. It likely should have gone the other way, but we're happy. We're so happy that luck prevailed. We've reached the end yet again, but ladies and gentlemen, we've had fun today, have we not? And until the next time we get to do so yet again, be a friend to the channel. Click that like button. Share your thoughts in the dialogue down below. And if you're not yet subscribed, well, we need you right here on Team Pro. Until we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.